Tariff wars, interest rates, and markets crashing all across the country, according to most headlines out there, at least. It's the beginning of March, and you know what that means? We have updated numbers for your Denver market to let you know what's going on with your biggest investment. Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? We're going to unpack that. We're going to look at some national numbers, find out, are we on trend? What is going on out there? We're getting into the spring season, generally our busiest time of year, but is that going to hold true here for 2025? Well, let's dig in to Denver, starting with the amount of inventory out there. And if you don't know me, my name's Alex Saldana. I've been a local Denver agent since 2010, helping hundreds of people move across the Denver metro area, relocating here from out of state. I love this place. It is home for me. I've been here 25 years. No, I am not a native. From Chicago originally. But there's a reason why I live here, and there's a reason why I stay here. And if you find yourself with questions or needing anything, just feel free, reach out. My phone number's below. Text me, call me anytime. I got you covered. All right. Let's get on to the inventory here, which is what drives our entire market. So starting with new listings, what we're looking at here is a 5-year time frame of what happens with our new listings, right? And this is pretty cyclical, ladies and gentlemen. December, January tend to be the low months of new listings coming to the market. You can see the last 3 years, it's been the trend. And then we start going up, and we keep going up, up, up until about May or June every single year. So where are we this year compared to last year, right? So this year in February, there were 7,700 new listings across the entire Denver metro area, which is up 12.6% year over year. Last year, we had 6,800. Now, is that really notable? You know, since 2021, all of our sales have been down. All the numbers have been really depressed because of interest rates getting up there, and everybody's kind of frozen, buyers and sellers alike. So percentage wise, it sounds like a big number and it'll make good headlines. However, at the actual numbers, it's not that big of an increase, okay? Considering we sell about 6,000 homes every single month in Denver, having an additional 800 year over year, nothing to write home about. All right, now active listings. So what's going on with stuff sitting on the market, right? Available inventory to pick from. We are up from 14,600 in December up to about 15,800 in the end of February. Now this number is up 34.4%. That is a fairly good size increase compared to last year. So this year, 15,800. Last February, we had 11,800. That's, another 4,000 more homes to choose from year over year in the Denver metro area. So that's an entire month more of inventory than we had a year ago. So we're going to pay attention to this. I think there's a couple of different markets out there. And what I'm seeing across the board is that good homes, priced well, homeowner upgrades, good locations, all that, they're still flying off the shelves. They're still going under contract within a week or two. The ones that are a little bit outliers, right? You're talking on a busy street, next to a busy street, next to commercial space, next to a graveyard, next to a cemetery, railroad tracks. Those are hanging out. Basically, people just don't want to pay 6.5%, 7% interest rates for something that is not ideal for them, something that's not perfect. They don't want to pay $4,000 a month or more. And I can't blame them for something that doesn't check at least 80 to 90% of all of their boxes. Okay. Now, on to pending listings. So what is the market doing with this inventory? Well, we're actually up year over year by about 8.5%. So in February, we put 5,700 under contract. Last February, we were at 5,200, right? So that's up 8.5%. So even though active listings are up, new listings are up, the amount of homes that are going to get to the closing table should also be up, right? So people that have been sitting on the sidelines the last couple of years finally realizing, what, interest rates aren't going to go anywhere. Well, they're getting off the sidelines. It's time to move. They've hit their pain threshold of too many people in the household, multi-generational families, and it's time to expand, or it's time to contract and to downsize. So this year, as far as closed listings, interesting, we were down 7.8% year over year. We closed 4,500 properties in February versus last year, we closed 4,900. Okay, so let's unpack this one a little bit further because our pending listings are up year over year for this month, for February, right? So that means these are properties that are going to close in March and the beginning of April, okay? Well, what was it last month? So let's take a look at pendings. So January was 4,900 compared to the year before at 5,000. So we were even year over year in January, yet closed, we closed 4,500. How many went under contract? 4,900. So, we had a bunch fall out of contract, take longer to close. So this is a little interesting. We're going to see what March brings, obviously, because that's when really things start to pick up. Is right now on the sell side. The next 8 to 10 weeks are the very best time to be a seller. This is when the most buyers start to come off the sidelines. Spring is happening. People are kind of getting amped, ready for summer, wanting to be in their place by the summer. So if you're on the sell side, now's your time, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll keep tracking this because I'd like to see closed listings continue to increase year over year. If active is going up and pending is going up, I'd like to see closed follow that. All right. So on to the days in the MLS. We went from being on average 67 days on the market, right, before going under contract. So add another 30 to 45 days to close, down to 63. So a little bit under. And this is generally when we start to decline year over year. The amount of days on market always declines, but that's still up 14.5% year over year. All right, here's our month supply. This is the benchmark for if it's a buyer's or a seller's market. 4 to 6 months of inventory is considered balanced, as far as what the old timers say. I actually think it's more like 3 to 4 months is balanced in this day and age. But we're at 2.8 months of inventory, meaning if no new houses were to come on the market, it would take 2.8 months to sell out of every single thing on the market on average. So that's up a little bit. And that's kind of the trend last year. January was the low at 2 months. And then we just, keep going up and up and up every single year. You can set your watch to it. So in the bigger trend, this is what we're looking at too. So we can see back in 2010, 2011, we were at 8, 9 months of inventory on the market overall, right? And then we just declined. And then we kind of sat in this interesting spot of 2 to 3 months on the market of active inventory. And then we plunged down during COVID, and now we're on this slowly incline up. So really what this says is, there are more options to choose from. Sellers aren't getting 50 grand over, right? Unless you've priced it aggressively or it's a really attractive house in a great location. And so we're just kind of on our way back to normal. But yeah, as a seller, you're going to have to give concessions. You're going to have to cave on certain inspection items. Going to happen for the most part, right? So the buyers have a little bit more of a better chance to negotiate and actually think on something for more than 2 hours, which I can't say is a bad thing. All right. Showings to going under contract. We're looking at approximately 15, 16 showings before going under contract for the month of February. That's quite a few. It's not out of line though from previous years. Last year, where were we? We were at about 15.916. So we're on point, right? It's going to take 16 showings on average to get your house under contract. And right now we have about 6 showings per listing on the MLS, which extrapolates out to a little over 2 months of inventory, right? So those are the expectations. You're getting 1 to 2 showings a week, unless you are that house in the neighborhood, perfect location, great price, homeowner upgrades, and then you're typically going under contract within the first week or two. And now, what everybody wants to know, are we going up in price? Are we going down in price? Well, here we are. We're staying on trend, ladies and gentlemen. We are up $13,000 for the median close price in February from January. Is this normal? 100%. Every single year we see December, January is the lows. And then last year we went from 530 up to 548. So same trend. The year before, the low was January. February was up to 532. So this is exactly the same that we have seen in previous years. And if we keep zooming out this chart, we can kind of see we've consolidated a little bit here over the last couple of years, but we might break the 2021 high, or 2022 high, I should say, back in April, which is 590. We're currently at 565, another 1 or 2 months of $15,000 price bumps. And we will be there. But year over year, we are up 3.1% in the Denver market. That's pretty solid, ladies and gentlemen, for all the turmoil and everything that's been out there, especially with interest rates. Like, to be up 3.1%, I'm a little surprised. We were one of those hyper markets, Cap. When COVID hit, we were, super attractive to a lot of people in the country that moved here, outdoor lifestyle, like everything that goes along with Colorado. We have it. And we were one of the top cities for migration coming in. And so prices just escalated like crazy. And I thought we would see a lot more going out since the COVID kind of hype has settled down. And I figured we'd be kind of flat, or down 1 or 2%, just kind of hovering in this stalemate scenario. But overall, we're holding pretty steady. And interest rates are holding us steady. And to talk about interest rates, here's what we've got. So, if you've been paying attention, there is a lot of chatter, tariffs, and things like that, and stuff going on. Well, when there's uncertainty in the market, the Fed's ability to work with interest rates, that's their job, is to control the markets by increasing or decreasing interest rates. And as less people want to buy, they decrease rates to get it more attractive. Well, over time, the banks also adjust their numbers. So what we're seeing is in the last 3 months, we peaked at 7.05% interest rates in January, and we are down to 6.56 approximately for a 30-year conforming. 30-year FHA is even better, right? They're at 6.28 right now. 15-year conforming, they're at 5.78%. So not horrible in comparison to what's been going on in the last couple of years. If I zoom this out in the last 2 years, we're starting to get to that low point there, right? The low point that we saw here was back in September. That's when they officially lowered rates, and then rates went up after that. So go figure. But if we continue on this trend and we get down below 6%, I think that'll get even more people off the sidelines on both the sell side and the buy side. And so we might be in a little bit more of an active market. You might have more options to choose from, which would be great, but things will go a bit quicker, right? And you might run into multiple offer scenarios, depending on how we continue to trend. So interesting stuff here. If you're on the buy side, like, you've got some options out there in the market right now, and it's a good time to be a looker because you're actually balanced and you don't have to compete against 10 other offers in most cases. If you're a seller, you're still getting a great price, but you're going to have to give in a little bit, right? It's not the crazy 50 grand over asking price sort of stuff, but you're still doing really solid as a seller. So where do we stand nationally in comparison? Well, according to Redfin, the national number as of the end of January was 419,000 as the median close price. Year before, in 2024, it was 402. So we're up to 17,000 year over year nationally. So a few percent. That's pretty solid, right? 4%. The amount of home sales, they're down, but that's because of interest rates. Now, we're not even back to 2019, 2018 levels. So we're a little bit suppressed there, but it's not because there's a ton less buyers. There's less inventory to choose from. Like, all of the numbers across the board are suppressed. So that's just kind of what it is. If there were twice as many sellers, we would have a lot more home sales currently, right? Pending sales, yes, we're kind of down a little bit there as well. Just like closed listings, new listings, we're starting to poke up a little bit, but we're still not to 2019, 2018 levels. So on the national level, we're kind of in the trend, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what we're seeing across the board in most of the metro markets. There are a lot of headlines out there about markets crashing. Washington, D.C., in particular, Florida, well, they had the hurricane go through there, and that's just a hot mess. California with their fires, like, there's a lot of stuff going on right now that is unfortunate in certain markets, but every single market has micro markets within it, right? I can show you certain neighborhoods around Denver that are down 10 to 20% since the 2022 peak, right? I can show you other neighborhoods that are up 25% year over year. And there's so many different micro markets out there that you really got to understand the nuances of every individual city. And if you do have any questions about Denver, feel free, reach out, call me, text me, be happy to help you. And if you are looking for a deal, you really need to watch this because I think there's a lot of misinformation about it, especially foreclosures. So check this video out.